everybody, welcome back today guys to the channel, back here talking about Need for Speed Unbound. Obviously this game is fast approaching and they have been releasing content about every week or so I'm excited for next week's drop, right? So I'm hoping that they will be mentioning and also uncovering some information for us. Now because of all this new stuff that's been floating around, it's kind of got me thinking, will we have wheel support on Need for Speed Unbound? Now we haven't seen much obviously, but from what we've seen, the gameplay does look pretty frantic, and I'm a little bit worried that we're not going to have wheel support right off the launch. Now we're going to talk about it for today. I have a few things that I wanted to point out. So I want to go back today, rewatch some of the older footage with the wheel, and kind of assess what we might have for Need for Speed Unbound in terms of wheel gameplay. I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Huge thank you for coming around for today. And of course, before we start, dad joke of the day, coming last episode from Civ Michaels, and he goes, how many socks do bears wear? None. They have bare feet. If I ever see a bear, I am running, man. I don't care if he's wearing socks or not. Huge thanks for watching, and of course, don't forget to slap that like button. Right now, I was going to record some actual wheel gameplay, playing some Need for Speed Payback or also Heat. Now, I'd like to know down below in the comment section what game you'd like to see first with the wheel. Need for Speed Payback or Need for Speed Heat. Both allow you to use the wheel, and I actually went back on the channel to find some older gameplay using the wheel, and it didn't really go the greatest. Actually tested it a couple days ago when I was, kind of excited for Need for Speed Unbound to find out that the wheel really doesn't work the greatest on Need for Speed Heat. Now, I didn't really test and tune any of the settings, nor did I have a proper car to really be driving it. So obviously now I have about $49 million. I'm not understanding how. I think it was the deluxe code that I had redeemed, right? But I had $49 million. So I did some builds on here, and I'm excited to come back to Need for Speed Heat or Payback with the wheel. So I'm definitely excited to be able to go through the car list on Need for Speed Heat, pick and choose whatever I want, upgrade whatever I want, and have some fun with it. Obviously, it's not the greatest in terms of wheel gameplay, and I kind of remembered everything as I was going through these old gameplay clips. It was that the wheel was just, it was terrible, right? I mean, I kind of enjoyed it, and it's really an arcade experience. You have to take it as such. You can't be going into this hoping you're going to be drifting like Forza Motorsport or Assetto Corsa, because it's just not going to happen. But, if you do have it on a lower rotation, have your handbrake accessible with your nitrous, maybe you can find some fun in drifting on the game. However, though, I think the game really does just come down to cruising and driving with the wheel. At least for Need for Speed Heat. I don't know if you guys have found anything better, but obviously it's not the greatest. I don't even believe the paddle shifting works, right? So thankfully the shifter though does work if you do have it set up on Payback, but obviously there's no clutch pedal, and it's a really weird thing that Need for Speed just has kind of ignored. Obviously we had the big update for Need for Speed Heat for the wheel. However, it really didn't do very much. I guess it just allowed the wheel to be used. I don't know if we could use it prior to that update or not, but it wasn't the greatest. They did allow some fine-tuning settings and such like that, and I don't believe that they really tinkered with it after it dropped. I do believe it was just kind of, they made it, they set it, and then they left it. And that was about it. So my hopes is that since they've been working on this for a little bit, hopefully they've kind of went back to the drawing boards with the wheel and maybe redid it from scratch, and possibly we're gonna have proper wheel support for this game on launch. Now when I say proper wheel support, I'm talking the paddle shifters working, I'm talking the clutch pedal working, right? And of course, with this being so arcadey, I'm assuming that this has really created some hurdles for the game devs to get the wheel working right. Now obviously I think it just would work best at a very low degree setting and just have fun being able to drive the car left and right. Don't really need the power slide set up. Obviously they're trying, I guess, but it is a very interesting style of driving with the wheel on Need for Speed Heat or Payback, mind you. Payback, it's a little bit worse. You got the the really big rail setup where you kind of get thrown into the walls, and I kind of found that out as I was watching the footage back. Now I don't know if you guys have experienced either of those games on a wheel. Maybe now, because of the fact that it's been a couple years, maybe you have a wheel now, and obviously that's kind of my point, is that Need for Speed should be making this a priority in their games, is to have wheel support. It would really bring a different audience towards the game, even if it's still arcadey. That's completely okay. I don't want the gameplay to change in any way. I just want my wheel to work. When I go left, it goes left. Maybe it gives me a little bit of force feedback. When I move it to the right, it gives me some force feedback. Let me map a button or two here or there, right? That's all I'm saying. It would really help in the long term with the game's longevity, being able to use a wheel or controller at any given point in time. And I mean, it was a very difficult thing to learn and, you know, figure out how to drive, especially with lower horsepower on the wheel. And I don't even really believe that there's proper force feedback on the wheel settings. Now, mind you, I'm gonna have to come back here and test it and try it out before Unbound comes out, but I really do hope in these next few updates that they mention the fact that we're going to be getting wheel support for the game. That would be an icing on the cake and really showing that they're in the right direction and really making this game for the community. Because like I said, a lot of people have wheels now. People have leveled up these last few years. People have some extra spare change in their pockets now maybe, and they want to buy a new wheel with a brand new game. Or you're on the other side of the coin where you've already had a wheel and you're looking for a good Need for Speed game to play with it. I really do hope that all the buttons are, you know, accessible. That's one of the other big things, is that sometimes the buttons just don't work. I get that they have to make it work with each game. Maybe just add, you know, a button mapping option. That would probably be the smartest. Obviously, it's easier said than done on the console, so I definitely get that. Of course, maybe there's limitations that they just can't get over, and that's completely out of their hands, I guess. I don't know if that's the case. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I just thought of that today, was are we going to get wheel support for Need for Speed Unbound? And also keep in mind, maybe they don't even want to add in wheel support, and that's completely okay as well too. Maybe this game is just supposed to play on a controller, and sometimes games will play way better on a controller and way more fun on a controller as well too. I'm just saying it's nice to have that option because it is a car game, right? You have a car game, usually it would work with a wheel. That's why you end up getting it. So hopefully they do that, but maybe it's not even on the radar this year, and that would be a little bit disappointing in my personal opinion. I would like to know down below, do you think the wheels belong in Need for Speed games? Obviously, it just started happening with these last few Need for Speeds. I may have already done a video on this, but I may have to go back to Need for Speed Underground and test out the wheel on that game as well too. I do have the PlayStation wheel over there, so maybe I'll have to go ahead and do so. But right, so if not, if you didn't already hear these already, these were my raw reactions to the wheel in the game the first time I got to the update.
I will say though, there is no real force feedback on what I'm doing on the road. You guys can see the car just maybe I didn't do it right. I don't know. My wheel was plugged in before I started my game.
Right, it's kind of 50-50, right? You want to like it, you don't want to like it at the same time, because it's not fun to play with, right? That's the biggest problem, I feel like. I did look over to a few other channels to see if there was anybody that really got the drifting down. I did see C Toretto actually had a nice little clip with his 350Z ripping it around with this full wheel setup. So obviously there is a little bit of method to the madness and getting the car working properly, and that's why I want to come back with a new vehicle, higher horsepower, and see what we can actually do on the wheel, if it'll actually hold when we throw it out sideways. And I'm definitely excited for it. There's been a lot of opinions about Need for Speed Unbound, people liking it, not liking it. You know, they don't like all the animations around the car. You can turn those off, right? We talked about that last episode. If you guys have missed any of the build up to Need for Speed Unbound, definitely go ahead and take a look at those. But they did confirm on Twitter that you can take off those accents around the car. Right now, I don't know if that means everything or if that means just certain things with the toppers on the car. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. We did have Honeycomb Coil last episode. He goes, Need for Speed into the speed verse, man. I definitely like that. Definitely kind of feels like it, right? It's got those crazy, exaggerated emotions on the cars here, but I'm feeling it this year, right? I'm really excited for the career mode. I'm hoping it's something big. I'm hoping we have a lengthy story mode as well, too. That's probably one of the biggest things that is really going to make this game stand out, is the story mode and having it a little bit of length to it with some good cutscenes and obviously wheel support. Are we gonna get it? Huge thank you for coming around for it today. Let me know your thoughts down below on Need for Speed Unbound. Are you picking it up? Have you pre-ordered it? And are you wanting wheel support on launch? If you do, slap that like button down below, subscribe with post notifications. Now today was supposed to be a regular episode. I do apologize. I fell down the stairs last night going to check on the fridge door to make sure I closed it, right? And then bam, slipped down the stairs. As I was going down the stairs, I guess I slipped on the top step, tried to grab the rail with my arm, and thankfully I didn't tumble down. I slid down hitting every step, I think, but you know, I was coming down with some speed, so I tried to grab the rail with my arm and it just completely road rash the inside of my arm. So I definitely just was wanting to just relax today and just talk about a little bit of wheel support on Need for Speed Unbound. Like I said, hopefully they have it in the game at launch. I have a good feeling this year. I really do. I'm going to stay positive. Need for Speed Unbound is getting wheel support out here. I'm just kidding. I'm just hoping. Okay, huge thanks for watching. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow on the channel. I'm out. Peace.